So welcome. I'm hoping I can help somebody out. And of course the issue I had, and you can already see the worst dreaded sound you can hear when installing a toilet. So I removed the old toilet, I put the new toilet in. Now this is important that I have a raised flange. There are raised flanges, okay? You can see here raised, some that are level with the floor and some go below the floor. So this is important. I believe this is only going to apply to a raised flange for a toilet. So I got the new toilet in. I was all excited. I'm all ready to go. I had to shim it. I definitely had some rocking. I always recommend use composite shims. I'm going to have to do that again. And I had the toilet installed, and just as I'm turning, I heard that dreaded sound, and of course, there it is. So after doing some research to replace this, and this whole piece is one, and I'm sure this was cemented or glued in, and this looks like it's going to be a major, expensive replacement. So thankfully I went on and I was reading, and I'm hoping that I found the answer, though I don't know yet, and I may not have. But this is the original, by the way, flange that was with the house, built back in 1995. Unfortunately, there were only 2 screws in here. These 2 did not have screws in. So I'm going to drill this out and put 4 screws in. But then here is, I'm hoping, the answer. Okay, voila. And I just went to Home Depot and I picked up this repair kit. And I am praying, okay, going to keep my fingers crossed that this is the answer that I need. So I'm going to play around with this and see what I can come up with. But I am praying and praying and praying that this is hopefully going to be the answer that I need. So I may have to drill. I can see already that the holes here don't line up. So I'm going to drill through, but I got to mount this piece and make sure, of course, this is in flush. I can see here, it looks like I got at least 2 holes that are going to match up. And of course, the important thing for this one is I am going to have to shim the toilet. So literally, I had already caulked it. I was all ready to go. I was all excited and just making my last few adjustments because it was rocking. And unfortunately, there was that dreaded sound. So I'm going to see how it goes. Let me get this mounted. I'm going to get these screws in and then get this plate mounted, and then I'll check back in and we'll see how things go. Obviously, always make sure, put a rag in, keep the methane gas out. I clean this out as best as possible, and we're going to go ahead and give us a shot, and I'm hoping that this plate, by the way, I picked up at Home Depot. As you can see there, so stainless steel replacement ring. I was looking for a kit that I saw online, but I didn't see it. This is all they had, and it looks like it's made by it says stainless steel, and over here it says OATEY, O-A-T-E-Y, of course made in China. Stainless steel, that's only the markings I can see on it. But if that helps you with the part number, 42778. Again, I bought this at Home Depot. It was around $5. And I am praying that it is going to save me hundreds, because I know I live in the New York area. For me to get a plumber in here and just to get them to the house, him or her, would probably be $125 to $150. And again, this piece, as I move it around, is obviously all one. So I'm assuming this was obviously cemented in. And it may be a big job, but I'm going to give us a shot. And worst case, I am going to call a plumber, and we'll see how this goes. So I'll check back in. So checking back in, what I did right now is I made sure these 4 screws are in here. This is nice and solid. I want to make sure, of course, I don't want to crack this, so I didn't pull these down too tight. Just Phillips, I drilled these 2 out, and this piece is in here now nice and solid. So next, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to install my ring. Now, the ring, as you can see here, does not match up with the holes, okay, because I want to keep these the same. So I'm going to go ahead and drill out, it looks like 1 and 2. So that way I'll have 2 solid screws going in there. I got some screws right here. I'm going to drill this out, as you can see, and then that way my plate will be nice and secure before I go ahead and put my toilet on. So let me go ahead and get that done. All right, so I got this mounted in. I drilled 1, 2 screws. Actually, there was a little indent here and here, so I didn't have to drill through the plastic, which was nice. And I made sure when I screwed this down, by the way, I didn't do it with a drill, I just did it with a screwdriver. I just brought it so that it was flush, so I didn't want to do too hard again. I don't want to crack this, but this is really on here solid now. Okay, again, just kind of flush with these, all right, and that's not going anywhere. So next, I'm going to go ahead and mount the toilet. Now, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to really make sure I shim the heck out of it. I got these composite shims. Again, because this is a raised flange, okay? And so far, so good. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, get my toilet on here, but so far, I'm very happy with the flange mount. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed again. I've got my bolts. These are the original bolts. And I'm gonna get these all cleaned up, and they should fit right in here perfectly, which they do. Okay, and then get these mounted. Of course, you want the plastic washers, so you keep them in place. And then we'll go ahead and get the toilet mounted, and we'll check back in and see if this project was a success or not. All right, my last check-in before I put the toilet on. I am going with the non-wax ring. This is the 7530 toilet seat kit, better than wax kit. So I've got it seated in my valve. I got my screws on. And now for the moment of truth is getting, of course, the toilet mounted, which is always, of course, a fun thing. And then keeping my fingers crossed, get this mounted, and we'll see how this goes. So I'll check back in a little bit. All right, so back, and I've got this all shimmed up. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the retainer bolts, but I definitely had to shim the heck out of this toilet. So you may have to do the same again if you have the flange that's above the ground. Again, these are the composite ones I used. And I'm going to go ahead and get this sealed down. And go ahead. And then, of course, you're not going to see this because eventually I'm going to seal this with white caulk adhesive, so you're not going to see the shims. All right, so I got all my shims in place. I got my bolts on. Of course, obviously, I'm going to trim them down later and put caps on them. I got my water line reattached. Okay, and obviously, I'm going to caulk around this whole base, so you're not going to see the shims. But it is really solid now. Not going to go anywhere. Keep my fingers crossed, but so far, going well with the installation of this Toto toilet. Again, on a broken flange, and going to keep my fingers crossed and see how this goes once I turn the water back on. Let's go here. All right. And we have our water. Always go back a quarter turn. And are definitely filling. We have no leaks. It's all dry as our bowl is filling up. So after this fills, I'll get this flushed a few times, and then I will check back in, water coming back into the toilet. And again, those are the shims, and I'm going to get this sealed and then let this dry really good before anybody sits on it. And we'll continue to see how the installation goes with this broken flange. So what I like to do when I'm ever working with water, I take a paper towel. I'm going to put it near the where the flange went and the seal. I've now got it filled with water. All right, we're going to take a few flush tests. Okay, we're going to let this bowl fill up. And I'm going to do this a bunch of times, and each time I'm going to make sure my paper towel comes out completely dry, which would indicate that I hopefully have no leaks. So paper towel, still coming out dry, and thankfully, so at least I know I don't have any major leaks. Okay, and hopefully I don't even have any small leaks. So again, I'm going to give this a bunch of flushes. Still dry as a bone. All right, so that's all good news. Go ahead and, so basically I'm just going to keep doing this. A bunch of times, flush, get rid of my waste, keep checking for leaks. Okay, and in this case, thankfully, still dry as a bone. Other side, dry as a bone as well. So far, great news. I got no leaks in the back from the water line. So, I'm going to go ahead and do this a few more times, and then I'm going to go ahead and get this sealed up and try to finish this project and hopefully be able to use this toilet tonight. Alrighty, so far, looks like everything went well. Repeat, this is not the final caulk job. Again, not the final caulk job. But at least you can see the shims. Obviously, you can't see. And so far, so good. I always prefer, maybe I got a bad batch lately, but I've had really good luck lately with the GE products. I've had bad luck with the DAP products, either being completely dried out or falling apart. But anyway, I'm going to let this dry. It is dry to the touch, but it says dry it for 24 hours. I will dry it for 24 hours. But so far so good. So hopefully, again, if this helps somebody out, again, I will trim those, obviously put the caps on. I'll do one more, at least one more bead job, make sure it's nice and neat. This is just the initial, so I really want this to dry well, because again, this is not only covering the shims, but actually keeping them into place just to make sure they're secure. And then I'll hopefully be good to go. But that is the repair job again with the broken flange, and so far so good. If anything changes, I will update it. But I think you have enough information for now that if you have a problem, you are hopefully be able to do it and save yourself some money and hopefully have a usable toilet. Take care.